The training deck of the Galactic Unity buzzed with the subtle effectiveness of multiple species collaborating harmoniously. Commander Zekfar, a formidable Vorin with crystalline skin that mirrored the ship's intense lighting, examined the diverse assembly of cadets with his assessing orange eyes. His reputation arrived before him, a seasoned veteran of 3 border conflicts, recognized for his unorthodox training techniques. In the midst of the cadets, Marcus Chun stood out as the only human amidst a multitude of alien shapes. At average height by human standards, he seemed almost small next to the towering Krillian cadets and the graceful, elongated Selenians. However, Marcus had discovered quite some time back that looks could be misleading, particularly regarding people in the cosmos. "Today," Zethar declared, his voice resonating with the metallic undertone typical of his kind, "we talked about the hierarchy, adherence, and orderliness." His gaze moved over the gathered cadets before focusing on a young Aldrin named Kiptul, whose blue-green skin had paled noticeably. "Many of you still fail to grasp the seriousness of military hierarchy." Kiptul's forearms quivered just a bit. The Aldrings were recognized for their artistic abilities and diplomatic skills. They were not warriors. Marcus observed a young cadet having difficulty with the more intense parts of their training, frequently becoming immobilized during combat simulations. The cadet stood tall. Zekfar's voice sliced through the stillness like a plasma blade. The Aldering stepped forward, his movements cautious. Marcus experienced a well-known pressure in his chest, reminiscent of the sensation he had as a child observing bullies cornering smaller kids on playgrounds back on Earth. "Speak to me, cadet," Zethfar said, moving around the quaking alien. "What is the primary principle of military engagement?" To obey commands without hesitation, sir." Kipto stumbled over his words. "That's right. However, yesterday in the boarding simulation, you showed some hesitation. You challenged Sergeant Vextar's command to move forward towards the simulated enemy location." Zekfar halted right in front of the cadet. "That kind of indecision leads to the deaths of soldiers." "Sir, I was simply evaluating the tactical circumstances. The strike occurred unexpectedly." Zekfar's crystalline fist struck Kiptul's slender chest, sending the Aldrin tumbling across the deck. The other cadets instinctively stepped back, flinching slightly. Kiptul inhaled sharply, his forearms wrapped tightly around his body as he fought for breath. "That is the reward of hesitation," Zekfar proclaimed. "Inquiries belong in the educational setting. In the heat of battle, you take action." Marcus experienced a deep and instinctive force coursing through him, a legacy his kind had borne from the African savanna to the far reaches of the cosmos. His hands formed tight fists, and his vision appeared to narrow, concentrating exclusively on the Vorin. The commander loomed above the wounded cadet. "With all due respect, sir," Marcus stated, his voice unwavering even as the flames of determination surged within him, "I think you've conveyed your message." Zathar turned, his orange eyes shimmering with a hint of amusement. "Have I? As a human, what would that point be?" "Your readiness to resort to violence against a cadet to assert dominance is concerning." Marcus moved ahead, placing himself between the commander and Kiptul, who was still trying to get up, though I'm uncertain what lesson that imparts about leadership. A wave of astonished murmuring swept across the gathered cadets. Commander Zathar had never been addressed in that manner before. Definitely not a first-year cadet from a species that has only been in spaceflight for just 2 centuries. "Be careful, human." Zethfar's voice lowered to a menacing whisper. "The Council might have been impressed by your species. Your eagerness for confrontation is evident. Yet you remain merely a cadet. Understand your role." "I understand my role," Marcus responded, His voice held that distinct quality people adopt when they reach a conclusion that cannot be reversed. It's a struggle between those who intimidate and those who are targeted. The term bully didn't have an exact equivalent in galactic standard, but the essence was unmistakable. Zathar's crystalline features dimmed, his skin transforming from transparent to a foreboding shade of purple. "You have the audacity?" "I take on many challenges, Commander." Marcus shuffled his shoulders, a movement that appeared nonchalant, yet held deeper significance. "Check out my origins. There's a phrase we often use. Choose a target that matches your own stature." Zathar chuckled, a noise reminiscent of grinding glass. "Your personal dimensions, human being? I weigh double what you do, and my bones are made of living crystal. You are tender skin." Marcus shifted, not with the graceful accuracy of a Selenian martial artist or the fierce effectiveness of a Krillian warrior, but with a distinctly human touch. The frantic, clever brutality of a species that had fought its way to the pinnacle of its food chain. Even though it wasn't the most powerful or the quickest predator in its realm, the human's initial attack aimed at Zathar's left knee joint, the area where the crystalline structure was most vulnerable. His second strike, executed in that same fluid motion, caught the surprised commander in what humans referred to as the solar plexus. The Voran bent over, struggling to breathe, as Marcus's last blow, a perfectly executed uppercut, landed squarely on Zathar's protruding chin. The clash of crystal and bone against human knuckle resonated through the training deck like a tolling bell. Commander Zathar's eyes rolled back, and he fell backwards unconscious just before hitting the deck. The training bay was quiet, with only the gentle hum of the ship's life support systems breaking the stillness. Marcus loomed over the collapsing commander, his knuckles stained with blood from the collision with crystalline bone, yet his demeanor remained composed. "You see, the essence of humanity," he remarked to the astonished cadets, reaching out a hand to assist Kiptol in standing up, "is that we don't really concern ourselves with size differences. We concern ourselves with what is right and what is wrong." He surveyed the diverse assembly of alien expressions, some filled with dread, others with awe, all taken aback. "And physically confronting cadets to make a statement, that is wrong in every language." As Marcus sat in the brig, anticipating his impending court-martial, he pondered the unfolding events. Kipto may have cut his military career short before it truly began, but he was safe, and the other cadets gained a vital lesson about humanity that no textbook could ever convey. At times, being human isn't just about having strength or intelligence. At times, it was just about standing firm against the misuse of strength against the vulnerable, even if it required incapacitating your superior to make that clear.